Welcome back to day 8 of the Australian Open 2020. In this video I'm going to be reviewing the last 4 round of 16 matches that took place this morning on the women's side of the draw. Kicking things off with what was an incredible match in Simona Halep against Elise Mertens. In the first set of this match, it was probably the most I've enjoyed a set of this whole tournament. It was just an crazy standard, such high quality tennis, and it was one that could have really went either way. On one side of the net you had Halep, who was serving particularly well, really constructing points from her first serve, serving wide a lot of the time. She was counter-punching very well. She had that brilliant defence, as we all know Halep possesses. And her ground strokes was very solid. They both timed the ball from the off. And on the other side of the net you had the young Belgian, Elise Mertens. She attacked the net with real authority. She won a great deal of net play points. She was hitting winners from all angles on both wings, double-handed backhands, forehands down the line. And it was just a quite incredible set, really. They were both just playing out some of the best points you will see all tournament. And Mertens did actually have a lead in that first set. She had a break over Halep, but as we know with Halep, she never gives up a set. She's a real fighter, probably one of the best fighters and got one of the best attitudes on the women's side of the draw. We know how she does go through the gears when she reaches these quarter-final stages of Grand Slams. Now she's got that experience to win these slams, and I think that definitely helped her in this match. She had the mental edge. She did secure a double break over Mertens and took the first set 6-4, and that really seemed to just give her that confidence that she could win the match and get through to the quarter-final. She raced into a 3-0 lead in the second set, playing just some of the most outstanding tennis, like I say, that I've seen all week. She was barely putting her foot wrong. Halep, she was returning every ball. She was forcing Mertens into playing more shots than she wanted to. But it was how well she counterpunched for me. Halep, she didn't just sit and get bullied and force Mertens into errors. She took initiative of the match herself. She was taking control of rallies. She was trying to attack Mertens, putting her deep into the court, putting her into the corners, really attacking the net. And I was just so impressed with Halep last night. From Mertens' point of view, she didn't do a lot wrong, really. She was just up against a formidable player who was in the form of her life last night. I thought her game plan was spot on, and she executed it very well. She attacked the net a lot. Did Mertens? She looked for the line. She hit them a lot of the time, but Halep's is so good at retrieving the ball. The slow courts probably didn't play into Mertens' favour. Allowed Halep to have that extra yard to get the ball back. But Mertens can come out of this match with a lot of pride. She's had a very good tournament, and she pushed Halep all the way last night. And another day, she might have got through to the quarter final. It really was a toss up in the end. It was who took the chances, and that was Halep on the night. But Mertens can take a lot of confidence from a performance this week and a performance last night against, let's say, one of the best women's players on the tour. And I'm sure Mertens can have a very solid season if she continues to play like she did last night. So moving on, Annette Kontaveit was up against Iga Swiatek, and this was an incredible match, really. This I anticipated before it going to 3 sets. I did edge towards Swiatek. I thought she had the better serve and the bigger ground strokes, but it was another one that really could have went either way. It was a tough opening set. They were both serving well. The ground strokes were solid enough, both timing the ball well from the off, and they went to a first set tie break. It was a high quality tie break. The 18-year-old Swiatek, a player that's got such a great attitude, and she really does find the best tennis in the bigger stages of matches. And I was surprised to see her win that tie break 7-4. Obviously, being 18-year-old, she's very, very young. She's inexperienced still at this level, but you wouldn't see that when you're watching her. Sorry. In the second set, Kontaveit came roaring back. She began to find her first serve a lot more frequently, and I think she had freedom in her play. Then she realised that she had to do something to change the complexion of the match. She had to get Swiatek out of her rhythm, get her on the run more, and she did win that set 7-5. And in the third set, it was more the same. It was down to who took the chances. There wasn't a huge amount of winners in this match. Wasn't a huge amount of unforced errors either. There was a lot of long rallies. And it was down to who returned the best, really, and who took the breakpoint opportunities, who were served out the sets better. And in the end, Kontaveit did come through that one winning the second and third set 7-5, 7-5. As I said, they've both got huge futures in the game, I feel. Kontaveit's lost just the 2 sets so far this week. She's been beating very, very good players, losing just 1 and 2 games in sets. Whereas Swiatek's 18-year-old and reaching Grand Slam last 16 stages, it's obviously an unbelievable achievement for someone of her age. And last night she could have easily progressed to the quarter-final. It was similar to Halep Mertens. It was down to who took the chances. It was such a high-quality match. And unfortunately for Swiatek, it was Kontaveit who took them chances in the end and progressed to the quarter-final. Moving on to the Spaniard, the resurgence of Garbine Muguruza. As I was saying yesterday, I expected it to beat Kiki Bertens, much down to the serve and the heavier ground strokes that Muguruza does possess. Muguruza had a very disappointing 2018 and 19 when she came on the scene a few years ago, and won Wimbledon, and people expected her to dominate the women's game, become world number one. She's obviously tall for a women's player. She's very strong. She's got a very strong serve, and we all expected that she would go on and win 8, 9, 10 Grand Slams. You know, the world was her oyster. She was only young, and I think that pressure didn't really suit Muguruza. A game was sort of went out the window, and she didn't turn up on any occasion really in the past 2 years, which is a real shame to see. She dropped way down the rankings. But this year, thankfully, it looks like Muguruza is back. She beats Svitolina in round 4, and obviously now she's beat Kiki Bertens to progress to the quarterfinals. And that was a huge win for Muguruza last night. I thought she played the match exceptionally well. She had a high first serve percentage. She won a lot of first serve points. I thought she attacked the net very well. She came in at the right times. The game plan was clear. I think over the past couple of years she hasn't been sure whether try and dominate rallies or come into the net. She's been a bit in between. But last night she was very authoritative throughout, and she looked like her mentality was back to where it was when she was winning Grand Slams. She served out the sets well. She took a lot of break points, opportunities that she had. As for Kiki Bertens, she played a very strong match as well. She had a lot of winners. Probably a few too many errors to beat the likes of Garbine Muguruza. But it was difficult for Bertens. We always know that Muguruza possesses huge power on both sides, backhand and forehand. So any short ball from Bertens is really being punished from Muguruza, and that was difficult for Bertens. I thought the court probably played better for Bertens, and both sets were relatively close, but I always thought Muguruza had the match in her racket really. If she could find a rhythm and really get into full flow on forehand and backhand side, I say she was serving particularly well. I don't think Bertens had many break points at all, if any actually, throughout the match. And yeah, it was a good match, this one, and Muguruza fully deserved 2 sets victory. She came through that one 6-3, 6-3, and if Muguruza was to come back this year and win the Australian Open, then it would be some comeback really when you consider the 2 years that she's had. But Bertens, we all know she's a clay court specialist. She'll be looking to make a huge run at the French Open and win her maiden Grand Slam title. And lastly, on to Angelique Kerber against Pavlyuchenkova. And this was a match that I thought would tip in Kerber's favour, a lot down to how the courts were playing. I thought would suit Kerber's style of defence. Obviously a great counter puncher, left armour, and she's very quick around the court. I thought she would force Pavlyuchenkova into a lot of errors, and I did perhaps underrate how good Pavlyuchenkova was. She's not a player that I've seen too much of, but I did manage to watch this match this morning, and I was super impressed by the Russian. And I think she's a player really, really on the rise, and that could win this title now. Kerber did take the opening set in a tie break. It was a set that had a couple of breaks in. I think Pavlyuchenkova led at one stage before Kerber hit back and forced a tie break. And I did expect Kerber to win that tie break. Obviously, we know she's got that experience of winning Grand Slams. She does often win a lot of close sets, and she produced very strong tennis in that tie break. I think you could see Pavlyuchenkova hadn't been in this situation many times. She is still inexperienced, reaching these quarterfinals of Grand Slams, and she made a lot of unforced errors in that tie break. In both tie breaks really, she made a few errors, That was unlike her. But I was looking at the match stats afterwards, and Pavlyuchenkova hit over 70 winners in this match, which is quite crazy, really, in a three-step match, to hit that amount of winners against a player like Angelique Kerber, who, as I say, is a great defensive player on a slow court. Then it shows how well Pavlyuchenkova is hitting the ball, how cleanly she's hitting it, how strong she is, particularly at the net. I think I've never seen a player on the women's side attack the net with as much success as Pavlyuchenkova does. The second set also went to a tie break, and I did think whether Kerber's experience would shine through again and whether she would get over the line in that one. But Pavlyuchenkova's played a lot better in the second set tie break. She really stole initiative early on in the rallies. She attacked the net, she went back to plan A and just trusted in her A game, and that was enough to see a win that second set. In the third set, by that time, Kerber was struggling, I think, more physically, and Pavlyuchenkova got stronger and stronger as the match went on. I think she was timing the ball on both sides, better, hitting the ball cleaner. Just as the match progressed, she was hitting more and more winners. Kerber was struggling to even retrieve the ball at some stages in the match. And although Kerber, I thought she did play a strong match, particularly in them two sets. I thought she battled hard, she showed good heart and good fight. She got a lot of balls back in court, but at the end of the day, Pavlyuchenkova just hit too many lines. As I say, she attacked the net brilliantly. I think she won over 90% of net play points, and she was hitting the ball very deep, wide, and allowing it herself to get into the net. Pavlyuchenkova doesn't possess a huge serve, but I feel like she's very clever with it. It's a slow first serve, but she positions it very well, and it gives her time to really attack the net. And Kerber never really adjusted to that. She didn't return badly in this match, but the sort of positions of a return weren't great. It allowed Pavlyuchenkova, as I say, to get in early and really just take control of the points from an early stage. So Pavlyuchenkova moved on to the quarter-final. All four matches were really high quality and really could have went either way. If any other of the four players won that lost, you couldn't have complained. None of the wins were massively comprehensive. I thought Muguruza was arguably the best performer over Burton's, but Halep's first set performance against Elise Mertens was mind blowing, really, from both players. Obviously Kontaveit progresses, just a young talent that's blew this tournament by storm so far. And the Pavlyuchenkova, who's just the winner machine at the minute, as I say, hitting 70 winners plus against Angelique Kerber on hard courts is quite an incredible stat. So they were four matches, that were very, very, very good matches, and they will provide great competition in the quarterfinals that start on Tuesday, I believe. So thanks for watching. I'll be back later on reviewing the men's last 16 matches when they finished, and also start previewing the quarterfinals that start tonight. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.